Good afternoon, I'm Josh Duncan, and these are some of the top stories coming out of the KelownaNow newsroom today. Breaking news to start, as this story just came in moments before I hit the air, but police in Kelowna investigating a suspicious death in the 400 block of Perth Road in Rutland. One person has been taken into custody in connection to the incident. The RCMP says it's believed to be an isolated matter, and there's no increased risk to public safety at this time. No further information available right now, but keep an eye on KelownaNow.com for updates to that story either later today or in the days to come. All right, a recent residential real estate transaction has smashed records in the Okanagan. The recent sale of a 20-acre estate in Lake Country, right on Okanagan Lake, as you might expect, is the largest ever residential sale in the history of the Association of Interior Realtors. The property at 16080 Cars Landing Road sold for $21 million, just a little out of my price range, comfortably eclipsing the previous record of $16.9 million that was fetched for another Cars Landing property, another lakefront home, last year. Partners Scott Marshall, Nate Cassie, and Jeff Hall successfully found a purchaser for the incredible property, but Marshall can't divulge any information about who that buyer is. What he did tell KelownaNow is that the property is made up of 3 titles. One of them could be developed under tourism commercial zoning. That means it could be the future site of some sort of boutique hotel or resort. While the value is in the lakefront land and the zoning, the property is currently home to a beautiful 4,000 square foot heritage-style main house built all the way back in 1910. It also has a converted barn with a suite, a waterfront gym, 2 private docks, helipad, boathouse, tennis court, and a soccer field. Yes, that's right, a soccer field. We'll have to wait and see what the buyer might have planned for this little piece of Okanagan paradise. Grass fires continue to be a concerning issue in West Kelowna. After crews snuffed out one yesterday afternoon that I talked about on yesterday's broadcast, West Kelowna Fire Rescue called out to multiple grass fires late Tuesday evening. The first on Wedding Road around 9:30 p.m. As firefighters arrived there, they received multiple reports of other fires in the vicinity of Old Okanagan Highway and Ingram Road. Deputy Fire Chief Trevor Breeden says all of the blazes were quickly extinguished by fire crews, but they are being investigated due to their suspicious nature. An Okanagan pub has avoided a monetary penalty and license suspensions after selling booze to a minor. The 1516 Pub and Grill in Vernon admitted that alcohol was sold to a minor, serving as an inspection agent for the Liquor and Cannabis Regulation Branch. It happened on February 19th of this year. A ruling posted by the branch said that at no point during the sale of alcohol did any employees check the minor's ID. However, the establishment's argument of due diligence, was accepted by the LCRB, as a rep for the pub said 2 managers were working as the only employees that day and were run off their feet, it said, after an unexpected midweek rush. The accidental nature of the incident, along with several steps taken by the pub to ensure it doesn't happen again, and other compliance measures in place at the establishment, that was enough for the LCRB to look the other way. The typical punishment for this kind of infraction, a 7-day license suspension and fine of up to $7,000. Neither was handed out to the 1516 Pub and Grill. The Bank of Canada announced this morning that it has cut the country's key interest rate by 0.25 percentage points. That brings the lending rate down to 2.5% from the 2.75% it has held at for the past 3 decisions in a row. That goes all the way back to March. In a summary of the decision, the bank explained that a weaker economy and less upside risk to inflation means a reduction in policy rate was appropriate to better balance the risks. The decision comes one day after StatsCan reported that Canada's annual inflation rate was at 1.9% in August, up from 1.7% in July. Earlier this month, a gloomy Canadian jobs report showed that August's unemployment rate was at 7.1%. That's up 6.9% from July as well. The Bank of Canada says global economic growth is showing signs of slowing, and Canada's GDP declined by around 1.5% in the second quarter. That was expected with tariffs and trade uncertainty weighing heavily on economic activity. The next interest rate decision expected from the Bank of Canada on October 29th. In sports news, the Kelowna Rockets are listed in the top 10 of the Canadian Hockey League's first weekly rankings ahead of the start of the major junior season on Friday. Kelowna is 9th on the list of the top WHL, OHL, and QMJHL clubs, considered the 3rd best in the WHL behind the Spokane Chiefs and Edmonton Oil Kings. It would normally be shocking to see a team that only mustered 18 wins last season be thought of this highly heading into the following year, but the Rockets have beefed up their roster over the past 9 months. That, of course, started with trades at last season's deadline to ship out veterans Andrew Crystal and Caden Price, bringing in budding talent like Hayden Papanekis, Will Sharp, and plenty of draft picks. And then over the summer, those draft picks turned into veterans like Carson Wetch, Mazden Leslie, as well as top import draft selection Thomas Politan. With plenty of draft capital to continue adding talent and T. Jiginla returning from season-ending injury, Kelowna poised to be a contender as the club prepares to host the Memorial Cup in the spring. Only time will tell if the preseason ranking is justified, obviously, and they have a tough test out of the gate as they will open their season at Prospera Place on Saturday against the WHL's top-ranked Spokane Chiefs. All right, wrapping up with a quick look at the forecast. Sunny and 27 in Kelowna right now. It's going to get a couple degrees warmer before the afternoon is up as well. Down to 12 overnight under clear skies, and then more sunshine on Thursday. Maybe the odd cloud in the afternoon as it's going to climb up to 26 degrees. That is it for me today, but you can read up on all these stories and plenty more over at KelownaNow.com, and check out, as always, our YouTube, TikTok, and X accounts for plenty more content. Have a wonderful night, Kelowna. I will be back in this chair tomorrow afternoon for a look at more local headlines and news stories. We'll see you then.
We don't just report the news. We live here too. We're your neighbors, bringing you stories that matter to all of us. No government funding, no outside influence. Kelowna Now, local, independent. News you can trust.